Nearly 6 centuries had passed since Nama first united Upper and Lower Egypt. For 600 years, the Nile had nourished a kingdom unlike any other. Egypt was the shining center of human civilization. But even as the pyramids of Giza stood tall, a quiet transformation had begun. With the rise of the 5th dynasty, a new power entered the stage. The pharaoh remained king, yet no longer unquestioned. The 5th dynasty was founded by Userkaf, a king whose ties to the cult of Ra remained debated, whether he rose from the priesthood itself or simply ruled under its influence. What is certain is that he forever changed Egypt's path. In his reign, the very first sun temple was raised at Abu Sir, elevating Ra to the center of Egypt's faith. With this act, Userkaf marked the dawn of a new age, one where power was no longer held by the throne alone, but shared with the temple. Userkaf was succeeded by Sahure, who would prove that Egypt remained a force to be reckoned with. He struck against Libyan tribes to the west. To the south, Nubia too felt Egypt's power, clear proof that the new dynasty would not be weaker than the last. Yet Sahure's reign was not defined by war alone. He became the first king to open Egypt's trade routes to the fabled land of Punt, modern-day Somalia, Eritrea, and eastern Sudan. From its shores came incense, ebony, and gold, treasures that flowed into Egypt and reaffirmed its place as the unrivaled powerhouse of the ancient world. Sahure was followed by Neferkare, under whom the growing weakness of royal authority became clear. Early in his reign, he issued a decree exempting Egypt's priests from any duty outside their sacred offices, granting the clergy unprecedented freedom and privilege. An even more telling moment came during a temple ceremony. The king accidentally struck Ra, the high priest of Ra, with his staff. Horrified, Neferkare stopped the ritual and apologized, an act unthinkable for the god-kings of the 4th dynasty. The priests of Ra now held such influence that even the pharaoh himself feared their displeasure. The kings who followed Neferkare left behind little of lasting note, and after nearly 150 years, the once mighty 5th dynasty came to an end. From this decline, a new power rose in Memphis, the 6th dynasty, founded by Teti. Yet his reign was far from secure. Ancient records tell us that Teti fell victim to a conspiracy within his own palace. Struck down by his bodyguards, the very men sworn to protect him. His murder sent shockwaves through the kingdom. The reasons remain shrouded in mystery. Was it for the priesthood, court officials, or tied to succession? Whatever the truth, Teti's death was a brutal reminder of the king's weakening authority. In the chaos that followed, a little-known ruler, Userkare, briefly seized power. Some believe he was tied to the old line of the 5th dynasty, others that he was an opportunist who usurped the throne. His reign was short and uncertain, a prelude to the stronger hand of Pepi I, who would restore some order to Egypt. Plots did not cease with Teti's death. Even in Pepi I's reign, danger lurked within the palace walls. Records speak of a conspiracy involving his own wife, tried at the court of Nekhen. Amid these intrigues, one man rose to prominence: Weni. Once a judge, he was promoted to oversee the royal domain, and soon became one of the most trusted men in the kingdom. When Egypt faced raids from the Bedouins of Sinai, it was Weni whom Pepi entrusted to raise an army. From the towns of Upper and Lower Egypt, and even from Nubia, men were called to arms. Weni led them not only into Sinai, but beyond, into southern Canaan. It was the first recorded Egyptian invasion of that land, a sign that though Pharaoh's authority within Egypt was fragile, abroad his reach could still inspire fear. Royal power was no longer absolute. Authority was slipping not just to the priests of Ra, but also to the governors of the provinces. What Djoser had consolidated for over 3 centuries was beginning to unravel. The very fabric of Egypt, the pinnacle of civilization at the time, showed signs of strain. To counter this growing challenge, Pepi I forged alliances through marriage, taking wives from a powerful family in Upper Egypt. Through this union, he sought to bind the provinces closer to the throne, attempting to stabilize a kingdom whose unity was quietly fracturing. Merenre, the son born from Pepi I's strategic marriage, succeeded his father as a child. His youth only deepened the fractures in Egypt's fragile unity. In Upper Egypt, Weni was granted authority over the south, rivaling even the throne in Memphis. Another rising figure, Harkuf, would etch his name into history through both war and diplomacy. He led expeditions into the lands of Yam, Irthet, Mecca, Tereres, and Irtheth, asserting Egyptian influence across the region. Yet it was not only conquest that defined him. On one remarkable mission, Harkuf intervened to settle a conflict between 2 warring Nubian nations, Yam and Teme. Through diplomacy, Harkuf brought peace to a region vital to Egypt's influence, proving that Egypt's reach was as much about negotiation as it was about the sword. Pepi II, another son of Pepi I, rose to the throne after his half-brother Merenre, just 6 years old at his accession. With the young king still learning the ways of power, regional nobles gained unprecedented influence. One such figure, Pepi II of Elephantine, became a key player in Upper Egypt, leading expeditions deep into Nubia to consolidate Egyptian authority. Alongside men like Uni and Harkuf, his rise was a clear signal. The power of the king was waning, and Memphis was losing its grip on the country. Pepi II's reign, remarkable for its length, reportedly 94 years, the longest in recorded history, was also marked by an inability to halt the decentralization of power. While Egypt remained prosperous, the throne itself had begun to share its authority with a growing network of provincial officials, a change that would shape the final years of the Old Kingdom. After the extraordinary length of Pepi II's reign, the throne passed to Merenre II. His time as king lasted barely a year. He was likely too old or too frail to rule effectively. He was followed by Nitocris, a queen whose name echoes through history thanks to Herodotus. With Nitocris, the line of the old kings came to an end. The power of the pharaoh had waned, while the nomarchs, once loyal governors, now ruled their provinces with near-complete independence. The centralized government that had held Egypt together for centuries faltered. And so the story of the Old Kingdom came to a close. What followed was a time of chaos, uncertainty, and fragmentation. Egypt seemed to return to the state it had been in before unification. Would this be the end of Egypt? Or would the land of the pharaohs rise again under a second Nama, restoring the glory of the first? That is the story we will explore in the next episode.